We interrupt your scheduled viewing to bring you this emergency broadcast, coming to you from the Paranormal Project studios. Mothers, look up your sons, and fathers, look up your daughters. It's the men behind the curtain.
Hello, I'm Dan, and this is Brad, and welcome to another episode
of the men behind the curtain.
Tonight's episode. Well, what do we got tonight, Brad?
Tonight we have a treat. And just before we get into the episode, I just want to mention that's a lovely looking beard that you got going there.
Thank you very much.
Since the last episode that we filmed, you seem to have miraculously just grown that.
There's
Who'd have thought? There must be a backstory, I guess.
There is a backstory, and
I guess we'll get into that later. We'll talk about that.
Yeah,
but
it's a bit traumatic. So,
oh well. Oh, there you go.
I've just realised that I have finally gone through puberty.
Oh wow!
So I'm
there you go,
fucking
catching
cheating for that, man. I'm like, fucking, because I'm like, I've seen your beard in the past. I'm like, man, one day I'm going to go through puberty just enough.
That's all right.
To be able to grow one end.
We all aspire to be like our heroes.
Exactly.
So
right. You are my hero, Brad.
Oh, you warm my heart. You warm my heart. Anyway.
So what's on the agenda tonight?
Well, on the agenda tonight is a movie that I think it's a very controversial film.
Okay, and has it got anything to do with the outfit that I am wearing tonight?
Well, it does. It happens to be.
Oh, really?
You dress for the occasion.
Oh, this is just my everyday outfit.
Oh, wow. Okay. You got a new vocation in life then, I see.
I do, yeah.
Repented
you're a man of God again.
Your past life of sin and gluttony. Good for you, buddy. Good for you. Anyway, the movie that we are doing tonight is The Exorcist. The original Exorcist. There's been spin-offs. There's a TV series recently.
There's been the director's cut come out as well.
Well, that's the one that we
original one, is it?
Well, no, there was an original, but the one that we watched was the director's cut.
Ah, yes, so it had more in it.
It did. The spider walk scene. That wasn't in. Like, there's this scene that happens in The Exorcist. Now, and we're going to say this, if you haven't seen a movie from 1973, maybe you should watch that before you watch that.
Who said anything like that?
You said that the last episode of Blair Witch.
I wouldn't say such a thing, because...
Like, if you haven't seen it, well,
I'm
you know what?
Let's
just cut back to that. Let's just cut back to that for a moment.
If you haven't seen a movie from 1999, turn away now, because
I fucking told you. See?
Shit.
See?
All right.
So we haven't seen a movie from 1973. Maybe you shouldn't be here.
And I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
The movies that we have for this season, I have not seen many of them at all.
Well, that's not a bad thing.
So I'm not a man of culture. So single ladies out there, if you're after a horror movie buddy, please email such and such down here.
Oh.
And applications will be open soon.
Oh, shilling your information. You've gone to new lows in this new life of yours. Well, in any case, let's just get back on track here a little bit instead of talking about your dating life.
Oh, shit. The luck thereof, I should say.
Yeah, well.
Sorry, I am dating God.
Yeah, well, there you go. See? Take it, man. We're never going to get this episode.
No. Oh, shit. There's going to be so many other things that we can cut.
Oh, that's all right. Yeah. No, we're just going to go with this.
Yeah,
we're going to see where this rabbit hole goes.
Fucking knows.
But in true fashion, we're going to break down the movie. We're going to show everyone a few clips.
Yep. And
we're going to introduce a few ideas. So the questions that we have tonight that we want to pose to the audience and as paranormal investigators, I suppose. The first one will be, what are the signs of a demonic entity or possession?
Yep. And the second topic is, how do people react when confronted by the demonic?
Well, they get pretty fucking scared, I'd assume.
Yeah, they do.
And the third one will be, how real is it?
Yes.
Now, we've been doing this for quite a long time.
Yep.
17, 18 odd years. I've lost count at this point. We've done hundreds and hundreds of cases, but would you say that we've seen what you would consider a true demonic haunting, like what we saw in The Exorcist?
No, I've had a bit to think about that, and no, definitely not. I don't think.
We've
Right.
seen some shit.
I've seen some shit, but not like fucking beds moving and bloody green vomit being spewed all over the
No,
place
no.
and fucking people levitating off the bloody bed and all that sort of stuff. So nothing like that.
No.
But we have seen some stuff.
That's it. Well, Hollywood, I guess, is always going to take liberties as well.
Exactly.
So,
and considering that The Exorcist was actually, it's based on a true story, but it's very loosely based off a true story. And it's based off the book, which is loosely based off the true story itself.
Yeah.
So, they're going to take liberties.
Of course, yeah. And you did some research on this as well, didn't you?
Yeah, so we did some research, and basically it was based off a case back in the early 40s, early 50s.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The guy's name, or the little boy's name, is 13 years old, and his name is Ronald Doe.
Well, it's like that with any, like, based on a true story when it comes to Hollywood kind of thing. It's always, they're always going to take liberties, they're always going to make it their own kind of thing. And they definitely did that with The Exorcist, I think.
Definitely.
But I guess what we're going to break down tonight is, like, I guess the reality of it all, as people who've been exposed to this world, this paranormal world. And we're going to pertain that more to our experience in it and what we've seen in terms of possession. But I guess just to get on to a little bit about the movie, like when it did come out, how it did, it freaked everyone the hell out when that movie came out.
Yeah, I watched it for the very first time, obviously, a couple of weeks ago, and for me it was, for a movie that's nearly 50 years old, because it was made in 1973.
Yeah.
So 48 years old now.
Yeah.
It stood the test of time.
Yes.
As well. It's aged very well. It's aged like fine wine.
Oh.
As such. And it's hard to find a movie these days that has the same effect that The Exorcist did.
Yeah.
Me personally, I didn't find it scary.
Well, in this day and age, that's a fair assessment.
Exactly.
Because like we're very desensitized to it now.
Oh, definitely. Like with the age of the internet and everything like that.
But you think going back to 1973, that coming out in a cinema, they had ambulances on standby out the front of cinemas, people fainting.
Yep.
One of the scenes in particular where they put the thing into Reagan's neck.
Yes, yep.
That freaked everyone out when they did that. That was like one of the scenes.
Well, didn't one person actually faint and break their jaw as well?
Oh, there was plenty of that.
Yeah.
People like it was just hysteria. Like there's just.
I can see why it created such a fuss in its prime.
Oh yeah,
and,
I mean, there's people going to church for the first time. People were scared shitless of this movie.
Yeah.
Like they were completely freaked.
Oh, definitely,
out,
definitely, and I can see why.
Yeah,
you know, like even those practical effects for its time, it looked real. Like
But-
everything looked real.
yeah, it did. And every other movie about demonic possession that's come after that pays its homage to Exorcist. Like, but one thing I also noticed as well, the lack of music. Like there was the iconic score,
Yes.
but a lot of the rest of the movie was very silent, and they relied more on the effects.
It actually was, yes.
Well, I guess it's time that we get on to the first topic of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to show a couple of clips going into this because we're going to talk about the stages of demonic possession. The stages that we're going to go through are very highly publicised by Ed and Lorraine Warren, just in terms of how they break down a possession. The first one is infestation. So the first clip we're going to show you is to do with that.
Regan? You feel anything? Can you feel this?
I don't feel anything.
Put this in your mouth. Keep it there. This tells your temperature. The red light goes on. That's your temperature.
I don't want it.
So that's the first clip
Yep.
from Exorcist we're going to show.
Yep.
That basically just went through Reagan getting a few tests done. Not really sure what's going on with her yet. So that's sort of how Infestation starts.
It's got those little niggly things that happen.
Yeah, like the typical haunted house scenario.
Yes, definitely.
The knocking on the wall, like at the start of the movie where there's things going on in the attic.
Scratches in the attic and stuff.
Yeah.
Like that. And the open window as well. And
The lights playing.
The lights playing up as well. Yep.
And when she's holding the candle, and it does the big burst.
Yeah, that was me farting.
Wouldn't surprise me. But yeah, I mean, that's the whole infestation thing.
Yep.
In a nutshell, it's basically the demon knocking on the door,
Yes.
waiting to be let in.
Yep.
And in terms of how it happened with The Exorcist, the infamous Ouija board strikes again.
Yes, yeah. And it's...
You didn't bring it this time, I
What's
see.
that?
You didn't bring it this time, I see.
No, I didn't, because I thought it'd scare you too much.
Oh.
So I didn't want to see you scared again. So.
Well, I don't want to put all my things. Don't laugh at me.
Yeah, I'll laugh at you.
Well, I don't want it to really pertain to The Exorcist in how I feel about a Ouija board, but the message that I tried to convey last time was that The Exorcist is opening that door because it's using you as the conduit to open that door. And in the case of The Exorcist, that's exactly how it played out.
Yeah.
Reagan, out of loneliness, her dad moved away to Rome, her mother was working on the film set. That all sort of played into her loneliness and her wanting to make a friend and her playing with the Ouija board.
Yeah.
And then Captain Howdy comes along.
And she goes, surprise, motherfucker.
Well, I guess if you want to put it that way. Yeah.
But if, from what you're saying with the Ouija board, also pertains to the supposed real life incidents with Roland Doe.
Okay, yeah.
The fact that his auntie was a spiritualist introduced him to Ouija boards. The auntie died, and then he started using the Ouija board again.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what kicked off his his possession as well.
Okay.
So I suppose in that sense, the movie pertains to the supposed real life story of the Exorcist.
Well, there you go. So maybe don't go around playing with Ouija boards.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe that's how you find a girl. In any case, let's get on to the next clip that we're going to show, which is going to focus around depression.
Did you give her the medication I gave you?
Yes.
What was that? Where is he? Well, that was Ritalin.
Where's doctors?
Mother, please! Dr. Taylor.
What is it? What's happening? Stop! It's burning! It's burning!
Do something, Doctor. Please help her.
Oh, please, Mother! We'll make it stop! He's trying to kill me! Mother! Mom! Take it!
All right, let's see what to do. Keep away! The sour is mine.
Jeez, she's looking a bit crook there,
Yeah. Well, that's the oppression. That's where the demon.
So it's starting to take its toll.
Yeah.
Far out.
That's pretty much where it begins. Like, it infests,
Yep.
and then once it's got that open door in, that's where the physical transformations start happening. So it gets into like basically her facial features and the mood swings. Like, it all becomes a little bit more built up than what a simple haunting started out of.
That's it. And then it starts affecting the environment around
Yep.
it as well. You see the mother starting to get more intense and kind of lose control of the situation and all that.
And even the physical environment, like the cold, how like everything's just cold. And for the record, they had to get like air conditioners in on the set to keep it all cool and everything like that.
Well, actually, insane. Yeah, I remember hearing the director saying that he wanted to see the actor's breath.
Yep.
To make it more intense.
I think they're more worried about the demons that they put on set. They tried to get the set blessed and everything as well.
I heard that too. Yeah.
So, well, that's like, I guess they took the source material a little bit too serious, but
a little bit too serious.
I mean, that's that's oppression for you. So, demon just slowly gnawing its way in.
Shit.
Then it goes on to the next step after that,
Which is
possession.
Jinx.
You know what she did? Your canting daughter?
Demonic feels bad after just watching that. But possession is obviously when the demon just takes complete control. So that's where Reagan is no longer Reagan, but Pizzazu or Pizzazu.
Pizzazu, yeah.
Pizzazu.
Even though Pizzazu isn't actually referenced in the movie itself.
No, there's a bit of a backstory there. We don't get into sequels too much when we talk about it. Obviously, there's a prequel, a couple of sequels, but
that's it. But it is the demon that fights demons.
Wow, there you go. Well, that sort of makes reference.
Evil versus evil, doesn't it?
Evil versus evil, yeah. Old mate, one of the guys digging in the archaeological thing said that at the start.
Yeah, exactly.
Be observant.
So,
but yeah, so basically with those three little clips there, it's essentially the three stages of demonic possession.
Those three stages, like that go into the haunted house type of thing, the poltergeists, and demonic's more of an amplified version of those scenarios.
Yeah, definitely.
But am I a believer of demonic possession?
Well, I don't know. I guess you got to tell me. Have you had to fight any demons?
No, not today. Not today.
I don't think we've had.
Just had to beat off the girls with the stick.
Oh, wow.
No, that just sounded fucking wrong.
You could come and fight some of my All right. I suppose like we've gotten the basic groundwork set up for what we think a demonic possession is. So I guess we'll go down to topic 2 now, which is about how do people react when confronted.
Are they fucking crazy?
Is it Captain Howdy?
I don't know.
If I ask him to tell me, will you let him answer?
No,
Why not?
I'm afraid.
If he talks to me, I think he'll leave you. Do you want him to leave you?
Yes.
I'm speaking to the person inside of Reagan now. If you are there, you too are hypnotized and must answer all my questions. Come forward and answer me now.
Wow. From that clip, we saw the mental illness aspect of what goes into, and that's always going to be anyone's first assessment or judgment when dealing with anything that's demonic, I guess, with an individual person.
Definitely, because you've got to go down all avenues before me personally classifying something as paranormal or even demonic.
Like even when they were talking about Reagan, they were talking about the part of the brain that's having hallucinations and things like that. They were trying to think logically.
Yeah, and put it down to ADHD.
Yeah, or schizophrenia and things like that.
Yeah.
So, and there are mental illnesses that obviously have very similar symptoms, but I guess it's differentiating between the fact and the fiction there as well.
Exactly, and Reagan's mum, Chris, when the psychiatrist is like, the bed shaking is just Reagan's convulsions from the mental illness.
Yeah.
And Chris is like, hang on, what the fuck? The bed is literally like fucking shaking off its fucking hinges. How can that be convulsions? I was literally on the bed as well while the bed was shaking.
Oh, I bet you like a bed shaking in your life.
Give me Chris any day.
Oh my.
we would film a movie.
Oh god.
Oh shit.
And you were going to derail this one
I
tonight.
understand the psychiatrist trying to think logically.
Yeah.
He's thinking from a purely medical side of things.
Yeah.
And obviously not open to the other side. Although, later on in the movie, they suggest
Yep.
an exorcism.
Yeah.
And this is after more tests and everything like that, and everything
That's
gets
it.
worse.
Yeah.
So even they're like, okay, well, last ditch effort is such and such.
Funny that, because we have that clip all ready to go as well.
Ooh.
Of course, there is one outside chance for a cure. But, I think of it as a shock treatment. As I said, it's a very outside chance. But
Would you
since
just
you're
name
so-
it, for God's sakes? What is it?
Do you have any religious beliefs?
No. What about your daughter? No. Why?
Have you ever heard of exorcism? Well, it's a stylized ritual in which the rabbi or the priest try to drive out this so-called invading spirit. It's been pretty much discarded these days, except by the Catholics who keep it in the closet as a sort of an embarrassment, but it has worked.
That's where they get into the whole, I guess, suggesting the exorcism as something that they used to do, that the church used to perform as a ritual.
Well, in reality, wouldn't they have put her in a mental ward?
Very much so.
Like, they
Definitely.
would have gone, no, you're not going home. You're crazy.
I think that is definitely the case.
So...
And then Father Karras comes in and witnesses it for the first time as well.
That's it. But he also, being that he's a psychiatrist, was he a psychiatrist or
a psychiatrist
as well
and
as
a priest? Yeah.
For him to even go, no, this is mental illness, even though he's seen what he's seen, he's also not open fully to the possibility of it being a demonic possession.
No, definitely not. Because he's thinking from the logical part of his mind. But I think that's where his struggle through the movie is his faith.
Yeah, he's lost faith.
He has.
So is this his redemption back into the faith again?
Well, I think that was it. That's the one thing that's given him faith in the whole movie, was that he's seen pure evil. And if pure evil exists, then pure good has to exist as well.
True. The director, what was his name again?
William Friedkin.
William Friedkin.
I hope that I'm pronouncing that right. I sound like an idiot if I'm not, but yeah.
Yeah, his original idea for the film, or his original vision for the film, was it to be a film of faith and not a true horror film.
I think you're onto something there, because I mean, even through the movie, the amount that, like, Ellen Burstyn, who plays Chris, the amount of times that she's saying, like, for God's sake, or Jesus Christ, it's like taking the Lord's name in vain, so to speak.
That's it.
There's a lot of that happens throughout the movie.
And, I suppose even the Father Merrin, not Father Merrin, Father Harris.
Yeah.
Even his loss of faith for the whole movie as well. And then regaining at the end there.
But a lot of the religious symbolism as well, like when Reagan's getting, I guess, the MRI done.
Yes.
You see, like, this cross on her forehead as the camera's coming down as well.
Oh, you do too.
Little things like that, and even the little subliminal demon shots as well.
It's very subtle.
Yeah.
It's very subtle. And
Yeah.
when you go back, because I've watched it 2 times now, once with you and once by myself.
Yeah.
And you do pick up those little hints. And
that's it.
And everything, during the whole...
There's definitely a lot of religious symbology thrown at the movie.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of that comes off because even after the movie come out, there was a lot more interest in the church and people going to church.
Definitely.
So,
actually, the Catholics actually endorsed the film because it, like you said, it got people interested in religion again.
Yeah.
But in saying that, Linda Blair actually got death threats for 6 months.
Oh.
Because from religious nuts.
From zealots. Yeah.
Thought it actually glorified Satan.
Oh.
So it was Warner Brothers actually provided security for it for 6 months after the film.
There you go.
So,
but yeah, like the whole religious thing does definitely play a big role in it, whether or not that was the intention, but the symbolism's definitely there. Okay, so we're going to go to another clip now, and this clip is going to pretty much sum up how do people react when confronted by the demonic.
Either crazy or really excited. Maybe they want the demon to be a friend. Maybe they're perpetually lonely.
You are very lonely, aren't you?
It looks like the type of disorder that's rarely ever seen anymore, except in primitive cultures. We call it somnambuliform possession. Quite frankly, we really don't know much about it at all, except that it It starts with a conflict or a guilt, and it leads to the patient's delusions that his body has been invaded by some alien intelligence, spirit, if you will.
Look, I'm telling you again, and you better believe me, I am not going to lock her up in some goddamn asylum, right?
It's our...
And I don't care what you call it, I'm not putting her away.
I'm sorry.
You're sorry? Jesus Christ, 88 doctors, and all you can tell me with all of your bullshit is...
Well, how do you think you'd react if you saw something genuinely demonic? Like, genuinely, like, if you saw what was happening in the movie, how do you think you'd react?
Oh, I'd be fucking scared. No doubt about it. Okay, well, for example, right, the little bits here and there, I would try and pass off as with a logical explanation.
Yeah, like they do in the movie.
Like
they
they do in
do.
the movie.
They do try and think of. I reasonably think they try and think of everything logically.
Definitely. Well, they try to think down a mental illness,
Yeah.
so they go and get the psychiatrist and do the tests and all that sort of stuff. But when the bed starts moving the way it did, and you see that, and then her walking down the stairs backwards and stuff like that, yeah, it'd be fucking terrible.
Oh yeah, but then you see the priests, like they come out and they check it all out, and they're pretty freaked out. The doctors, like
when everyone's around, when everyone around you start to be freaked out as well, it makes you extra freaked out.
Yeah,
it's not only the fact that you're seeing this stuff, it's the fact that you are also losing control.
Yeah.
An extra sense of hopeless and helplessness is starting to set in.
Mm.
You can't help your child.
And you bring up a good point here.
Yes.
About we're talking about kids and everything like that, and that's kids in horror movies.
Yes.
Like
So
how
what is the psychological effect of having children in horror movies that scares us so much?
Well, it's that. I think it's that defenseless, that innocence.
Besides those facts, like what's the end game?
Well, the end game, I guess, is to kill the person, to basically drive them to a point where their body no longer functions.
Okay, is that a revenge tactic towards God?
Yeah, very much so. A lot of people theorize that it is about that. It's taking of life, taking of a soul.
Okay.
And a child's soul, I guess, in that sense, is seen as a more pure soul than an adult soul.
Yeah. I suppose by the time you're adult, you pretty much sins it your whole life anyway.
That's it, yeah.
So,
but yeah, overall, I think that like a child in the role of a powerful evil entity definitely elicits a lot more fear than a young male or an adult at that.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. Now that we've covered all that, how about we get into topic number 3, and how real is it?
Amen. God, defender of the human race. Oh, look down in pity.
You killed your mother.
Your servant.
You left her alone to
raging
die.
to raise
Shut
the
up! I'll never forgive you.
Oh, Lord,
Shut up,
devil's
bastard! Oh!
I command you, by the judge of the living and the dead, to depart from the servant of God. It's the power. Holy water. Oh! It's the power of Christ that compels you. The power of Christ 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 compels you.
It's like a bad day at the fucking office, that is. Head spinning right the fuck around.
Well, yeah, that was pretty much how it all sort of climaxed, I guess, in the end of the whole movie.
Yeah, that's it. Full possession. Right there.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
So, now, in terms of how real it all is, now, again, we're not going to preach that we've actually dealt with what would be considered demonic possession, but I guess in our mindset, how do you feel about how real it is?
Personally, I don't think it's real at all.
But I guess overall, because you have read a lot of the stuff about the real life event, like even in reading that, do you think that there's even a hint of realism to the movie?
Look, I'm going to. There's an old saying: never let the truth get in the way of a good story.
Okay.
So I'm gonna have to say that it's extremely loosely based.
Okay.
On,
So
on a real life thing, because it was also reported in the media as well.
Yeah.
We all know what the media does. It likes to,
oh yeah, very
amplify
much so.
things in its own way of go towards narrative, whatever it is. So I have to say, like, I don't believe it was as terrible as what it was made out to be.
Okay. So overall, your impression of watching The Exorcist, now, granted, for the first time,
Yep.
like, obviously it's aged and it's dated a little bit.
Yep.
But even, like, what would be your rating? Like, out of the 10 ghouls, what's your rating there?
Realism. Okay. Look, for realism, there were certain aspects of it that they got right. Obviously, going with the mental illness, they went through the procedures,
Yeah.
and all that sort of stuff. But then the head turning, the levitation, all that sort of stuff, it went above and beyond.
Yeah,
as such,
it
you
went
know.
to another level.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, in regards to realism, I'd have to say it's maybe a 3.5.
Okay.
So,
Well, I guess for me, I'm going to put it in a similar boat. I'm probably going to go with a 4.
go 4, yeah.
Mainly because, like, even though the movie was very extreme in the sense, there's still that hint,
Yep.
that small hint, I think that they got right. And not so much from the whole demonic possession thing, but from the signs, like the scratches, the knocks, the typical haunted house, the typical poltergeist stuff that we have witnessed on investigations.
Definitely.
So I guess from a paranormal investigator point of view, I'd give it a 4.
Yep.
But obviously not anything more than that.
Yeah.
Because even though we've dealt with a lot of that stuff, I don't necessarily pertain it in any way, shape or form to demonic, even though people may claim that it is. And it's not to say that we don't believe people when they tell us about this stuff. But in this day and age, there's a lot more mental illness that I think plays a bigger part.
Definitely. Yep.
And we're technologically and I think more mentally prepared to be able to give a diagnosis.
Yep. Or push them in the right, not push them, but lead them in the right direction of being able to get the help that they...
We understand more about psychology now than what we did even when this movie came out.
Exactly.
Even before Roland Doe.
Yep.
Before any of the demonic possession come out, there's obviously a lot of religious context to it as well.
Definitely, yep.
And there's a lot of people who believe in certain religions, believe in exorcisms, and we don't want to discredit any of that at all.
Yeah. But does an exorcism come down to actually expelling a demon?
Yeah.
Or does it help eliminate the demons that are already inside of that person that they've created themselves?
Yeah.
So,
because like even when people, we were talking about before, when people are confronted by the paranormal, part and parcel of us going out as investigators puts their mind at ease because they've got someone to talk to.
Yes.
So, and the whole thing with Reagan becoming infested with the demon in the first place was out of her loneliness. Like it was out of
that's
her.
true. But if it wasn't for the head spinning and all that,
oh,
would that have been something that she created on her own?
Well, that's it, yeah.
Or still the external force.
That's it. Or there'd be no exorcist without an exorcism, I guess.
Well, that's it. That's it.
But I guess in summing it all up,
Yep.
we I guess collectively as the men behind the curtain, we'll give it a 4 out of 10.
4 out of 10, yeah.
Like, for the time, it's definitely scary. Now we're so desensitized to it.
Oh, definitely.
I think we've delved
up,
deep into the demonic possession.
Yeah, who knows? We might even go on another bit of a side episode with more into the making of the Exorcist and the things that they were able to do.
There's
at the
only
time.
so much that we can get into in one episode,
Exactly.
but we've certainly scratched the surface. There'll be many other movies that come about demonic possession.
Exactly right.
Oh,
exactly.
Exorcism of Emily Rose comes to mind.
That's true. That's a good movie too.
Well, not to give any season 2 or 3. Let's hope we get to that.
Yeah, that's it. Yes.
In summing up, I guess just follow our socials. They're all posted here. Give us a like, keep us relevant.
Yes.
But if you like what you see, leave us a comment, give us some sort of
If
motivation.
you enjoy the content, let us know, obviously.
Yeah.
We try to keep it lighthearted yet informal at the same time.
Yeah. We like to think we're funny too. So
As long as we think we're funny, that's the main thing,
that's
isn't
it.
it? So-
Yeah. Even if we're just the audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how we roll.
Exactly
That's
right.
how we roll. And
Well-
if you like our glorious beards, let us know too.
Oh yeah, you're getting there.
Yeah, I'm just gonna
one day.
try the mutton chops.
Until
There
then,
we go.
we wish you all a good night. And
Or day,
we will
wherever you are.
All day, yes. And we will see you for the next episode of
The Man Behind the Curtain.
That was a good one. That was a good synchronized.
Chin.
We got it.
Yeah.
Oh, we better go.
Oh,
Bye.